Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Oh boy, this movie is a tale of two experiences for me. One of them was going in expecting a fantastic story that wraps up story arcs built over 40 years of storytelling, contextualizes the galaxy and delivers an emotional ending to the greatest saga of all time. The other was going in mindlessly, expecting nothing but an entertaining, action-filled roller coaster in a universe that I love. And I just want to disclaim, I don't hate Star Wars, I still love it with all my heart and will continue loving it, regardless of my negative feelings around this movie. The truth is, Rise of Skywalker is beautiful. It's fun, it's action-packed, it's exciting, and it sounds incredible, but on the other hand, it's mired by an absolute garbage plotline that not only disrespects the previous two movies in this trilogy, but the prequels and the originals too. It destroys any semblance of character arcs for Rey, Kylo Ren, Luke, Sheev, and provides the most nonsensical fan pandering I've ever seen, which is in stark contrast to The Last Jedi. Despite their claims that it doesn't, it tries to give every single part of the fandom what they want, and it sacrifices the story for that in what becomes a big, rushed mess. Let me put it this way. Are you a Reylo? Well, we've got something for you. You want Rey's parents? Here they are. You wanted Palpatine memes? You got them. You wanted Rey to have a lineage? Here it is. Who is Snoke? Here's the answer. Maybe you are a Finn Rey or a Poe Finn shipper. We've got enough vagueness in there for it to be possible. A Bendemptionist? Sure. Dark Rey? Enjoy. Super weapons? Hell yeah. Starkiller like force powers? Definitely. You wanted the prequels? Well, we'll ignore them except in the trailers. But you get the gist. It's as if they've looked at the most popular fan theories and tried to incorporate them all in some way, and the story suffers so badly. Not to mention the clear middle finger to The Last Jedi that people honestly do their best to say doesn't exist, but it's there. Whether you like The Last Jedi or not, tell a cohesive story and do not course correct on the basis of backlash. Each movie in this trilogy has been a corporate response to how fans have responded. It's not been storytelling for the sake of storytelling, something George Lucas battled his way through after the negative responses to the prequels. He told his stories regardless of the fan outrage, and this trilogy, this movie, is the opposite of that. So, the state of the galaxy, the dead speak. The first 3 words of the crawl, Palpatine is back. Why? It doesn't matter, he's back! But there's no evidence to even suggest he's still alive, but Anakin killed him. Well, it still doesn't matter, he's back, and if you want to know how the galaxy knows it, go and play Fortnite. I'm not even kidding, the first sentence of the crawl is a reference to Star Wars' Fortnite event, where the message of Palpatine's return is played. If that doesn't tell you straight away that something is wrong, I don't know what would. And I'm not kidding, that's it. There's no context, no reasoning for why Sheev has returned. He just has always been in the background, scheming, whilst he's rotting away in a machine that's keeping him alive. Okay. Oh, and he created Snoke. Yeah, there's a variety of Snoke clones in a vat of liquid. But that still doesn't answer anything. Was Snoke a person before? Was he bred for this one purpose? You can't be a clone of something that doesn't already exist, and in the lore, he watched the rise and fall of the Galactic Empire. That is a quote, so he's just been chilling on Exegol after being created by Palpatine, waiting for his moment since the end of the prequels? But he didn't know Rey was a Palpatine in The Last Jedi, and he wanted to kill Rey in The Last Jedi. This is just the first example of no cohesion between the first 3 films. It's evident that this wasn't the plan, and it's just a throwaway answer to people's questions, but it raises more. And then, all of a sudden, we're thrown into the movie and it gives you whiplash. It's here, it's there, it moves, and doesn't for a second take a moment to breathe. Just breathe. Slow down. But it never does, and we're constantly chasing a completely stupid MacGuffin in the Wayfinder, which paths the way to Exegol, but Rey specifically never even gets the damn thing, and it's like a gaming fetch quest. Go here, find the dagger, read the dagger, go here, use C-3PO to translate the dagger, save Chewie and get the dagger back, go and find the Wayfinder. it doesn't allow the characters or the story itself to develop anything. It's a year or so after The Last Jedi, and there's absolutely nothing in terms of world building or character development or overall plot context, and it's just a wild goose chase, but with that said, it's an entertaining one. And sadly, the same thing happens to the best character in the trilogy, Kylo Ren. Go here, find Rey, fail. Go here, capture Rey, fail. Give exposition to Rey, seduce her, fail. There's absolutely nothing to Kylo Ren in this movie that delves into his psyche or his mindset, his struggles with the light and dark since he's become Supreme Leader, and how being Supreme Leader is affecting everything for him. And as a matter of fact, the intro of the film is a massive step backwards in Kylo's arc, especially from where we leave him after The Last Jedi, where we see him shake off the burdens of his past. He comes out of Snoke's shadow, lets the past die, and takes control of himself. But within the first 4 minutes of this film, he finds Palpatine and is acting like a lapdog and just chases Rey around like a big evil monster in his stead. However, I will say the scene on Pisana where they're both juggling the First Order ship between each other with the Force and Rey loses control of herself and destroys it with lightning was awesome, but from a story perspective, it's so dumb. There's nothing, absolutely nothing suggested in Rey's character arc that she's a Palpatine in the first place, and now all of a sudden, when she gets a little stressed or a little angry, she shoots lightning out of her hands. So now Rey's character arc is degraded. There's nothing unique about her story or her, nothing interesting. She's just got bad blood in this sense and is not allowed to get angry, otherwise she's going to kill her friends because of her Palpatininess. Being a Palpatine would be contextually clever. It's something I wanted to see from the very beginning. Were these things established early on, but they're not. It's rushed, it's forced, and the reveal is so cringeworthy. I just sighed at the way Kylo Ren says to her, "You're a Palpatine." And I just think you couldn't have done that in a more meaningful way, something more impactful to Rey, to the audience. Additionally, the reveal is so pointless because, again, in the first 4 minutes of the film, just like Kylo's arc is thrown under the bus, so is Rey's, and it's basically confirmed by Palpatine right there that she's related to him. So we spend half the movie watching Kylo try to get to Rey to tell her something we already know, not through clever subtlety throughout all 3 movies, but a straight-up confirmation right at the beginning of the finale. Again, another big clear statement that there's barely a plan here, and if there was, it was definitely lost somewhere. So the movie keeps moving. Like I said, it's entertaining, it's fun. They get the MacGuffin, save Chewie, Hux dies, and it turns out he's been betraying the First Order. What a great way to kill him off and relegate his character to nothing, but hey, at least his redemption arc was better than anyone else in this film. Wink wink. And they find the next place to go. It's only when we get to the Death Star, to the big confrontation scene, that any character development really happens within the movie, but it's still limited, and I'm not exaggerating. Rey gets the opportunity to see what she could become, and Kylo being the only one there to maybe comfort her. The setup was there, and Kylo says it himself, the only way you're going any further is with me. Finally, some breathing. Some development between these 2 characters. It's really been needed. No big lightsaber fight time, and yes, it's awesome, it's fun, it's beautiful, but there's no emotion. It's just 2 people fighting each other on the ruins of the Death Star for no reason. It tries to replicate the battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, which was so powerful, the environment telling a story in its own. 3 movies of these 2 characters growing up together, brothers trying to now kill each other. It's heartbreaking, but this, it's unearned. It means nothing. It's just a boy and a girl with lightsabers having a fight. It's already established throughout all 3 movies that Kylo doesn't want to kill Rey, and vice versa, so what's the end goal? Well, Leia then sacrifices herself to reach Kylo through the Force, and what? Confuse him so Rey could get the upper hand? For him to realise that she's still with him? It's just not powerful. The only powerful moment was Chewie mourning Leia's death a little bit later, which, by the way, did break my heart. So Rey stabs him during his shock and then heals him, but what was the point? What did the now Ben Solo learn? That Rey cares about him? I mean, He's known that since The Last Jedi, so where is the earned redemption, the turning point? For Vader, it's seeing his son being brutally tortured by the man that technically betrayed him and turned him into a monster when all he wanted was to save his family, the ones he loved. For Ben, it's a memory of his father telling him he loves him, which by the way was very emotional. Adam Driver's performance is exceptional considering how poor the dialogue and story is. He really does give it his all, but that happened in The Force Awakens. It happens with the mental connection between him and Leia in The Last Jedi, so Rey healing him is the main turning point for him to let go of his darkness, despite 10 minutes ago he was just saying he's going to seduce her to the dark side and it's basically everything you could ever need. There's nothing between these characters any more than there was in The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens. There's no development to suggest that the monster in the opening act of this movie would be willing to give up his power, his position, everything in the second act. It's so abrupt, it's so forced, and it degrades the character to nothing but what I feel was a plot device for Rey in the end, which is the worst thing about the film, and we'll get there, so bear with me. Rey then runs off to Acto, does a Luke, destroys the ship she comes in and tries to exile herself. But why? Because she's a Palpatine? Because of a vision? Because she stabbed Kylo Ren, her mortal enemy at this point in the film? Why does that make her evil? Why does it make Rey as a character a threat? It simply states that Rey isn't her own character. She doesn't have her own faults or issues because of who she is. She's defined evil because of her bloodline. It relegates Rey's character to nothing but a plot device for Palpatine, just like Ben is a plot device for Rey. And then, the biggest FU to Rian Johnson in the movie, she throws the lightsaber into the fire of the ship and Luke's ghost catches it and slates her for throwing it away. I mean, what? That's a bit hypocritical. Now, the scene where Luke throws the lightsaber, by the way, is my most hated thing in all of Star Wars and any fandom in general. I despise everything about it and what it stands for, but The Last Jedi did what it did. Stay the course, tell the goddamn story, but this whole sequence, it's just dumb. It's the only moment where we slow down, breathe, and allow some story to come first, but it means nothing. It tries to be the scene between Luke and Yoda in The Last Jedi, which is impactful, but it fails miserably here. And then Luke gives her Leia's lightsaber, which Leia always intended to give to Rey, or at least it's implied. The whole thing is just ugh. And why does Luke look like Gandalf? It's really odd and off-putting. Anyway, seeing Luke pull the X-Wing out of the water, finally after all these years, was very emotional. But again, you Rian Johnson, the X-Wing was fine all along. And also, you story group members who tried to claim it wasn't flyable. Here it is, Rey's taking it. Okay. Oh, and here's another one of the MacGuffins you've spent half the film searching for. It's miraculously unharmed in the burning and destroyed TIE fighter, so now you can go and confront Sheev. Voila. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I bet you've noticed, what about all the other characters? Poe and Finn and Lando, Zori and Janna? Well, they may as well not be in the film. They are literally pointless, although they are well acted. Take them out of the story and barely anything changes. The only character with an impact is Chewie. That's only because he gets captured, not because he does anything. And C-3PO not being able to read Sith was just pathetic, and it's just another MacGuffin. The guy in the Resistance, Merry from Lord of the Rings, could read Sith. So what was the point? Anyway, fast forward, Rey's on Exegol, there's a big ship battle happening up above with the biggest fleet we've ever seen. It's beautiful, it's all very fun, honestly, it's pure Star Wars fun. And while this happens, Rey confronts Palpatine. His plot is so convoluted, so stupid. I need you to kill me so I can take over you and become the Empress with you. So your goal from the beginning was to what? Get Rey as a child? Train her? What's the goal here? What has the plan been? Well, no plan, no storytelling, just action. So it mirrors Return of the Jedi. He shows Rey the battle above, her friends are dying, and she agrees. But then Ben, out of nowhere, he's on Exegol without the Wayfinder to guide him that we've just spent half the film searching for. to save Rey. He runs into the Colosseum thing, jumps onto the chains to go down, saying his last ever powerful piece of dialogue, which is, as I quote, "Ouch." That's not a joke. Ben doesn't say anything in this film past his encounter with the memory of his father. Not a word. Seriously. He has no dialogue. Anyway, he fights the Knights of Ren, who, always served Palpatine, are under his spell, but Kylo was the leader. What's going on here? Doesn't matter. Rey gives Ben Anakin's saber through the Force portal they share, who kills them with swagger, and honestly, seeing the mannerisms of Ben Solo and not Kylo Ren was awesome. He's like his father. He's cocky. His fighting style is unique. It's like a completely new man. I want to see this Ben Solo. I want to see more of Adam Driver as Ben. Oh god. He gets to Rey. They stand together in unison. Finally, what we've been waiting for. The last Skywalker, Ben Solo, Palpatine's rejected Jedi granddaughter Rey, together. Nope, he miraculously comes back to full strength whilst his body is eroding on this machine, keeping him alive, sucking away their life force, their bond, their dyad. What's that? That doesn't matter. It restores him and he gets back to full power. Come on, slow down. Tell a story. Give some context. What is going on here? What was the plan all along? Was killing them both always the plan? But why did Snoke want to kill her? Why did you want to kill her as a child? What's happening, Sheev? Why are you here? Ben is then yeeted into an abyss and Rey lays on the floor, and the Jedi of the past start to talk to her. And the most insulting thing in Star Wars then happens. Anakin Skywalker, the main character of the Skywalker saga, the chosen one, he says to Rey, "Bring balance to the Force, just as I did." Anakin, how did you bring balance? Sheev is right in front of Rey with a fleet of Death Star destroyers about to take over the galaxy. You failed. Your story is pointless. You didn't destroy the Sith. You didn't destroy the Emperor. You didn't bring balance. How can this honestly be the ending of the Skywalker saga? Anakin isn't here. Luke isn't here. Leia isn't here. And the last Skywalker, Ben Solo, is nowhere to be seen, perhaps even dead off screen. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of ships, the people of the galaxy, the same people that refused to help in The Last Jedi, in a really cool endgame portal-like scene, come to help the battle above. The music's blaring. It's really, really awesome. And then a reinvigorated Sheev literally disables the entire armada with lightning, which was awesome. Rey then gets up and takes his attention away and starts to deflect the lightning with no effort, by the way, the same lightning that's just disabled thousands of ships, and then uses two lightsabers of Luke and Leia, to redirect the lightning. Then he throws the line, "He is all the Sith." But wait, that contradicts the law. The Sith don't live on. Why is he all of them? Does he mean figuratively, literally? What's the story here? Is Plagueis inside of you despite the fact you murdered him? Well, it doesn't matter. Not important right now. And she says she's all the Jedi, redirects the lightning and kills him. Why the hell doesn't Palpatine just stop? Why does he literally let Rey kill him? What is this storytelling? What is going on? Then she dies too, and Kylo miraculously comes out of the pit, God knows where he's been, does the healing thing that she used on him, kisses her, and dies. What a wonderful conclusion to this character's arc. No dialogue, and dies. He has absolutely no impact on the conclusion of the film, aside from being a plot device for Rey, as I mentioned, and then dies. The rise of Skywalker indeed. So, all the Skywalkers are dead, and Rey takes the name, so the only Skywalker alive is actually a Palpatine. The rise of Skywalker. Let me say it again. The rise, not death, rise of Skywalker, but no Skywalker has an impact on the plot or the ending of the Skywalker saga, apart from Luke, who just tells her to confront her fear. So Anakin was pointless, he didn't bring balance or kill the Emperor. Luke and Leia were pointless, they didn't defeat the Empire or Sidious or beat the First Order. And Ben was pointless, he didn't contribute anything other than giving Rey confidence throughout the entire trilogy. So what it should be called is the Rise of Palpatine, right? The Rise of Palpatine Skywalker? What is the thematic nature of the ending? What is the point? How and why has the story since 1977 led to this shit? How could you even get to this conclusion as a writer? Out of all of the things you could have done, this would have been at the bottom of the list because it's not a fulfilling conclusion to the Skywalker saga, not the Palpatine saga, the Rise of Skywalker. Seriously. Fucking hell, it's bewildering. So, Rey Palpatine Skywalker. That's right, Rey Palpatine Skywalker. Now, this could have been an incredible story, by the way. Like I mentioned earlier, I hoped that she was a Palpatine. It could have been an incredible payoff, but the execution was dreadful, not just in this movie, but the overall trilogy. The lack of clear end goal with Rey is so evident it's perplexing, and you can see just how forced that this eventuality really is. If this was always the plan, it should have been established from movie 1, not the second act of the finale, and so it makes the showdown between her and Palpatine feel unwarranted. It lacks emotion, but it should have the same emotional impact as the finale of Return of the Jedi. Just imagine if we had development of Rey being this extension of the ultimate evil from day one, the development of the darkness within her, but her belief in Ben and Luke and Leia giving her the strength to overcome the shadow of her lineage, the blood of Palpatine, his last hope in regaining his foothold in the galaxy. His family betrays him, rejects him, and alongside the last Skywalker, his mortal enemies, is destroyed once and for all. And if you had to kill Ben, he needed to be the one to destroy the Emperor. He needed to be the one to finally bring balance in Anakin's name, and then you can have Ben die in her arms after doing everything he could to stop Palpatine, overcoming his own evil, his past, his abuse, his suffering because of his love for Rey combined with her love for him, as Anakin, his mother, and his uncle, who gave him that final push of strength, guide him to become one with them, as Rey then buries the name Palpatine, spitting on what it means, going on to take the name Skywalker instead, the ultimate insult to everything Palpatine is, and honours the man she loves, abandoning who she was born to be, and becoming what she wants to be, with Ben watching over her as she buries the sabers on Tatooine, seeing her carry his legacy, their legacy, the Skywalker's legacy, into the future as the twin sons said. But the ending we got was just awful. I just left feeling so dejected. This trilogy deserved so much more. Ben Solo and Adam Driver, who gave his absolute all, deserved so much better. And this is what we got. From a story point of view, this film is just not good enough. This trilogy is not good enough. It disregards the prequels, the characters from every era, and it's just bad. But it's also clear that this film suffered from internal issues. There is potentially a good story within this mess, but it's just poorly executed from start to finish, and the edit in general seems choppy and inconsistent, as if it's been made to fit around the narrative that wasn't the original intent. But hey, the silver lining is it's entertaining. It's a fun Star Wars rollercoaster ride that doesn't stop, and if that's what you're looking for, go and have fun, because I'm sure you will. I honestly did have fun on the second viewing, especially in 4DX, but just don't expect too much from the story. Anyway, that's about as much as I can bear to go into with this film and its story, and that is my conclusive review of The Rise of Skywalker. And if you want a number, I give this film around 4 or 5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, I want to know what you thought of the Rise of Skywalker. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please tell me in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the review, hit the like and subscribe buttons to join the community, and be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, join the Discord. Have a happy Christmas and happy holidays, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, May the Force be with you. Always.